Okay, so today we are working on lesson number 6, which is real world applications. Make sure you fill that part out with me because you need to know what you're learning about. All that means, you guys, is it's more of a word problem, but they're actually not like the word problems you generally think of. They're a little more straightforward, but you have to make sure they're paying very close attention to the instructions. Start us off today. There's 3 review problems. These are subtracting problems. So remember, when we have a subtracting problem, we always think of add the opposite, turn them into adding, then proceed with the problem. So I'm going to pause the video, or you're going to pause the video, complete these 3, and then come back and check your work with me. Please do these on your own and make sure you understand what's happening. All right, you should have them finished by now. 5 minus 9. If we're going to add the opposite, it turned into 5 plus negative 9. These have different signs, so I'm going to figure out which one's further from 0. Negative 9. That tells me my answer is negative. And then I subtract. 9 minus 5 is 4. My answer is negative 4. Add the opposite. Minus turns into add. Negative turns into positive. Well, that's just 8 plus 6, 14. Add the opposite. First number stays the same. I don't do anything with the negative 13. But instead of subtracting, I say we add the opposite. Turn subtracting to adding. Positive 4 became negative 4. These have the same sign, so we keep the sign, negative. I add my numbers. 13 plus 4 is 17. There we have it. Now, we are going to write some expressions today. And so we have to read carefully. And hint, hint, this is on your assessment, so please make sure you're listening extremely carefully. We are going to write 2 equivalent expressions. Okay, so first think about what that means. 2 different expressions, but equivalent means they equal the same thing. So we're going to write 2 things that look different but mean the same. Then it says, what is the difference in their elevations? We are being asked to find the difference in something. I know that word difference means what kind of problem? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Well, hopefully you know that means it's a subtraction problem. Traction. Hopefully I spelled that right. It's a subtraction problem, okay? So we are going to start by writing a subtraction problem. So our first situation says, an airplane flies at an altitude of 25,000 feet. A submarine dives to a depth of 600 feet below sea level. First, think about what kind of numbers we have. If we have the altitude of 2,500 feet, I know that's positive. So we have the positive 2,500. And then we are going to dive to a depth of 600 feet below sea level. Below sea level is my key, that's a negative 600. Okay, that's the number that represents the situation. And it says we have to write a difference, write a subtraction problem. This is expression number 1. I know expression number 2, I can rearrange what this looks like. I know minus a negative, a double negative is really plus a positive. So I can write this as 25,000 plus 600. That double negative turned into just addition. And then we have to actually solve what it is. So I know that 25,000 minus negative 600 is the same as 25,000 plus 600, which is 25,600 feet. Make sure that you put a label on there. I'm talking about feet. In order to get these questions correct, you need all 3 things. You need both expressions, and the third part is the labeled answer. Next, in August, the average temperature was 92 degrees. In January, it was 5 degrees below 0. What is the difference? So first, my first expression, think about our numbers. We have 92 degrees. I know that's a positive 92. 5 degrees below 0, that number is a negative 5. Find the difference is a subtracting problem. The second expression is my second equivalent expression. Minus a negative, double negative, is the same as 92 plus 5. So then I know that this is going to equal 97 degrees. That's the third part to my problem and my answer. Then we're just going to do some practice with adding and subtracting more than 2 values. So we have 4 things that happened to my bank account in July. Find the sum. I know sum means to add. So first I'm going to write out the problem that I need to solve. I need to write an addition problem. Negative 40, because I withdrew, I took out the money, plus 50, because I deposited, I put it in, plus another deposit of 70, plus a withdrawal of negative 50. I put parentheses around the negative 50 just so I don't lose the negative sign. It's a way to help see that. And then we just need to add 2 at a time, okay? So I like to break it up into 2 values at a time. I don't care how you put it together. Some kids like to put their negatives together and their positives together. I just like to look at 2 at a time. So I'm going to look at these 2. I know negative 40 plus 50 is 10. And then I'm going to look at these 2, and I'm actually going to pull that sign with it. 75 plus negative 50. So I'm at 75, take away 50. I know it's a positive 25. And then I'm left with a really easy problem, which is $35. Okay? It's a $35 change, and it's positive, so I have $35 extra in my bank account. You guys can add this up a whole bunch of different ways, but 2 at a time is what makes it easiest. So we have a little trickier one now because it has some decimals. So I'll get us started, and then you're going to have to finish this on your own. For the month of September, I started with $1,456.18. As I read the number, I'm going to write it down as an integer. I know that's a positive value, so I'm going to write $1,456.18. Is what I started with my bank account. Then it says I paid $180 for my car loan. I know if I'm going to pay money, I'm going to be taking it away. So I'm going to minus $180. And I'm going to make it a decimal just for the fact that I'm working with decimals. Then I went out for dinner, which cost $35.69. It's costing me money. I have to pay it, so it's another minus $35.69. And then finally, I got my paycheck. That was $456.37. So if I get a paycheck, I'm going to be adding that to my bank account. $456.37. How much money do I have now? So what you guys need to do is go through and solve this for me. Start with 2 at a time. So I would start by taking these first 2 values. It's just a normal subtraction problem. But remember, stack it. 1, 4, 5, 6. Decimals need to line up. 180, 0, 0. Line up the dot, and we are subtracting. But now, help you get started. 8 minus 0, you don't have to borrow. That's 8. 1 minus 0 is 1. Leave my decimal. 6 minus 0 is 6. 5 minus 8 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from my 4, make it a 3. And 5 becomes 15. The bigger bottom, better borrow. 15 minus 8 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. 1 minus nothing is 1. So I'm now here, and I'm going to recopy the rest of my problem. Minus 3569 plus 456.37. I want you guys to finish this problem up on your own. It's just a decimal adding subtraction problem. And then come back and make sure that you got the right answer. Because if you didn't, we need to talk about why. And if you did your math correct, you should end up with a remainder of $1,696.86 in the bank account. If you did not get that, go back and double check your work or ask a friend to look it over and see if you guys can catch your mistake. Now, before I let you go, I want to talk about your homework for just a little bit. First of all, that homework should say number 6 at the top. I think I fixed it for you guys. I just want to show you what we're doing today on here. So flip over to the homework. Let's go through a couple questions together. Number 1 says on a number line, find the difference of each number in 4. Okay, so every single problem is going to be the difference of a number in 4. Complete the table to show your work. The number line is only if you need it. If you need it. Okay, it's just there as a reference point. What you're going to do is you're going to take your number and you're going to write -4 from it. You're going to show that minusing 4 is the same as adding the opposite. And then you'll come up with your answer. So the part I highlighted doesn't change for every problem. The only thing changing is what number you're putting in. So I'm going to write 2 minus 4 stayed the same. 2 minus 4 can be rewritten as 2 plus -4. I know 2 different numbers. When I think about this one's further from 0, so my answer is negative. 4 minus 2 is 2. You could use your number line to show you that as well. Start at 2, take away 4, we ended up at -2. Notice in both situations, though, I still wrote -4 and that plus -4 just like we would in that first problem. So you're going to just keep doing that same process by changing that first number to -4, -6, and 1. Number 2 is you and your partner are playing cards. Find the value of each hand, okay? Finding the value, you're going to take your hand, and you're going to add them all together, okay? Then you're going to take your partner's hand, add them all together. That's this problem right here. You have to do both of your hands. Then you're going to find the value of hand if you discard the -2 and select a 5, and if your partner discarded the -5 and selected +5. So you have to redo it for yourself and for your partner, okay? So you're going to have 2 problems going on. You're going to have your hand here, adding all those numbers together, and then your partner's hand over here. Please make sure you do this problem completely and fully. Then we get to the back side, and there's just some more work. There's a couple straightforward problems. Number 4 is a process, so you need to make sure that you read carefully. And number 5 is like the ones we did on the homework. We are finding the difference, and you're writing 2 expressions and finding the answer.